The glitz and glamour of old Hollywood often overshadow the darker aspects of its history. The golden era of cinema, characterized by iconic stars and groundbreaking films, has long been romanticized. But as time passes and more info comes to light, we're forced to confront unsettling realities. Join Facts First as we delve into the darkest old Hollywood scandals. Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle's manslaughter charge. In the early 1920s, Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle was a name synonymous with laughter and entertainment. He was one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood, a rotund comedian who had the world at his feet. But that changed in an instant. The scandal erupted in September 1921, when Arbuckle attended a Labor Day party at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco. The event was meant to be a break from the rigors of his demanding film schedule. Virginia Rapp, a young actress, was found seriously ill in a hotel room rented under Arbuckle's name. She died 4 days later from peritonitis caused by a ruptured bladder. Arbuckle was charged with manslaughter, and what followed was a series of 3 highly publicized trials. The prosecution claimed that Arbuckle had sexually assaulted Rapp, leading to her injuries. The defense, however, argued Rapp had a pre-existing medical condition that led to her death. The first 2 trials ended in hung juries, a testament to how divided public opinion was. The third finally acquitted Arbuckle, but the damage was done. The court of public opinion had already passed a judgment. Newspapers, fueled by the moral outrage of the era, painted Arbuckle as a villain. William Randolph Hearst's media empire led the charge, sensationalizing the details and even fabricating stories to sell more papers. Arbuckle's films were pulled from theaters, and he was publicly ostracized. This scandal led to the creation of the Hays Code, a set of moral guidelines for filmmakers, forever changing the landscape of American cinema. Walt Disney's controversial guest. Walt Disney, a name synonymous with childhood wonder and magical storytelling, has long been considered one of the most iconic figures in American entertainment history. But even the most magical kingdoms have dark corners. One such shadow was cast in 1938 when Disney extended an invitation to Leni Riefenstahl, a German filmmaker known for Nazi propaganda films. The timing was particularly sensitive. Europe was on the brink of war, and Adolf Hitler's aggressive policies were causing international alarm. Riefenstahl was fresh off the success of her film Triumph of the Will, a propaganda masterpiece that glorified the Third Reich. While the film was technically brilliant, its ideological underpinnings were deeply troubling. Yet Disney, seemingly unbothered by these implications, welcomed Leni into his studio for a tour. News of the tour spread like wildfire, igniting a storm of controversy. Many questioned Disney's judgment, wondering how the creator of such wholesome family entertainment could associate with a propagandist for a regime that was antithetical to American values. The Hollywood Anti-Nazi League, among other organizations, openly criticized Disney for the invitation. Disney defended his decision, arguing his interest in Leni Riefenstahl was purely cinematic. Charlie Chaplin's relationships with young women. Charlie Chaplin, the iconic figure with the bowler hat and toothbrush mustache, was a master of silent comedy. His films like The Kid and Modern Times are considered landmarks in cinematic history. Behind the scenes, though, Chaplin led a life far from comedic, particularly when it came to relationships with young women. His romantic life was subject of much speculation and controversy. From an early age, he developed a reputation for pursuing relationships with significantly younger women. But his first high-profile romance was with his 19-year-old co-star Edna Purviance when he was 25. At 29, he became infatuated with 16-year-old child actress Mildred Harris. Their whirlwind romance led to marriage, a lost child, and an eventual divorce. Shortly after, he took up with another child actress, Lita Grey, who was just 15 at the time. Their relationship led to a pregnancy and a subsequent marriage that ended in divorce. Chaplin's romantic escapades continued well into his 40s when he married 22-year-old Paulette Goddard. And even in his 50s, he found love again with 18-year-old Una O'Neill, with whom he had 8 children and remained married until his death. The death of Jean Harlow's husband. Jean Harlow, the original blonde bombshell, was a Hollywood sensation in the 1930s. Her platinum blonde hair and sultry looks captivated audiences, making her one of the most sought-after actresses of her time. But behind the glamour and flashbulbs lay a tragic tale that would forever mark her life. the mysterious death of her husband, Paul Byrne. In 1932, just 2 months after their wedding, Paul Byrne was found dead in their home under circumstances as puzzling as they were shocking. He was discovered with a gunshot wound to his head, a gun in his hand, and a cryptic note nearby. The police initially ruled it a suicide, but the note was so ambiguous it left more questions than answers. Adding to the mystery was Harlow's own alibi. She claimed to have been at her mother's house. The incident unleashed a media frenzy. MGM went into damage control mode, attempting to shield their starlet from the scandal. But questions persisted. Was it really a suicide, or was there more to the story? Research conducted years later suggested Byrne might not have taken his own life, further muddying the waters. Harlow herself remained largely silent on the issue, her grief masked by a stoic public facade. The scandal had a profound impact both personally and professionally. While she continued to work, the shadow of Byrne's death loomed large. Jerry Lee Lewis marries his 13-year-old cousin. In the late 50s, Jerry Lee Lewis was a rock and roll sensation, known for electrifying performances and hits like Great Balls of Fire and Whole Lotta Shakin' Going On. His piano skills and energetic stage presence made him a star, but it was his personal life that soon eclipsed his musical talents in the headlines. In 1958, at the height of his fame, Lewis made a decision that sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. He married his 13-year-old cousin, Myra Gale Brown. The marriage was revealed during a tour in England, and the fallout was immediate and severe. The press had a field day, labeling Lewis a cradle robber and bigamist, since he was technically married to his second wife still. The scandal was so damaging, his tour was canceled, and he was forced to return to the U.S., where he faced a barrage of negative publicity. Public opinion was sharply divided. Some fans remained loyal, arguing that the heart wants what it wants, regardless of societal norms. But many others were horrified, viewing the marriage as not just inappropriate, but downright immoral. Radio stations pulled his songs from their playlists, and his record sales plummeted. They stayed married for 13 years and had 2 children, but the union couldn't withstand the immense public scrutiny. They divorced in 1970. Clark Gable's secret child. Clark Gable, often referred to as the King of Hollywood, was a symbol of American masculinity and charm. But behind the scenes, he harbored a secret, a child born out of an extramarital affair with actress Loretta Young. It occurred in the early 30s while Gable and Young were filming The Call of the Wild. Their relationship had to be kept under wraps due to the moral codes and strict public image standards of the time. When Young discovered she was pregnant, the situation became even more complicated. To avoid scandal and protect their careers, Young took an extended vacation to Europe. She gave birth in secret and returned to the U.S., where she staged an adoption of her own daughter, Judy Lewis, thereby keeping the child's true parentage a secret. It remained well guarded until Judy was an adult, and she began to question her origins. It wasn't until Young was nearing the end of her life that she confirmed what had long been suspected. Clark Gable was indeed Judy's father. Now it's time to hear from you. Were you surprised at any of these old Hollywood scandals? Let us know in the comments section below.